Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to be looking at Stranger Than Life, a beautiful collection of M.K. Brown's comics from 1970 to 2013. This was published in 2014 by Fantagraphics. And man, this has been a long time coming. I remember growing up reading National Lampoons. She was always in them. Always loved her stuff, even though I was very confused by it. Sorry, guys. I still got this lingering thing going on. A little warning for you if you don't like hearing coughing and sneezing. I was perplexed by her comics. But I mean, they are perplexing, even as an adult. A lot of them are almost meant to be perplexing. Nobody quite draws like M.K. Brown, and nobody quite writes like her. Maybe her life partner, B. Coban. They had kind of a similar sense of humor, very absurdist. Both of them make me laugh out loud. There's some funny stuff in here. Look at this big fat volume. This is just a nice piece of work here. And the cover, I believe, is just a collage of interior art. I don't think this is new. Maybe it is, though. I'm not sure. Okay, let's crack this open. I like this. The end papers are just like weird little sketches she did from photos. God, she's such a good drawer. I love her style. She has a bunch of different styles, actually. But you can always tell her art. I'm having a lot of problems grabbing these pages for some reason. God, that's beautiful to me. We'll see a bunch of color in this book, but she's so good at colors. Just these lush, beautiful watercolors she uses. Here's the title page. We get a nice little drawing here, dedications, and thank yous. Table of contents. So basically she split this book up into topics. It's not chronological. It's, cartoons about cowboys, cartoons about work. I believe this is a new Bill Griffith sketch for his introduction. And he does a really fun introduction here. Checklist for everything he wants in a cartoonist, and M.K. Brown checks off all the points on the list. This character, see, this is the thing about M.K. Brown. I don't know why she's so funny. It's just like that, the way she draws her face. She's in a bunch of strips. I think in the first strip she's called White Girl. But this is the kind of stuff where I can't even explain why I love her stuff. Here's a little intro by M.K. Brown. So first we have House People. This is the first section. So we have a lot of her spot illustrations because she worked for a lot of magazines, not just National Lampoon. But I think all of her long-form stories, like 2 to 3 page ones, are from National Lampoon. Some of them I don't even get. I don't think they're that funny, to be honest. But her art just, I still love them because I love looking at her drawings. This one's very primitive. I don't know if this is like something from when she was a teenager. It doesn't look like her at all. But this is just her weird humor. It's just this guy looking at this woman saying, "Comfy?" This weirdo shows up. "Are you back again?" These aren't the funny ones. She has some kind of lame punny ones. Like an egg salad sandwich. Here's a little thing about, she introduces a bunch of strips in here, giving a little background. So I think this one might have been done for Playgirl. And it features Billie Jean King. She was inspired by this ad that we saw on the previous page. This is from 78, Stranger Than Life. And this one is just, I don't know, it reminds me of like a Fellini. Sorry, God damn it. I think this one's going to make me cough more than normal because it's making me laugh and that makes me cough. Sorry, okay. This reminds me of a scene from a Fellini movie where this the narrator is saying she went to an afternoon brunch and the hostess offered her wine, and then she was sucked backwards out the window, and then she abruptly changed direction and flew to the left with her arms out in front and one leg bent like Superman. It was so strange. We talked about nothing else all afternoon. See her colors here, just how beautiful they are. These are so odd, some of these. This couple are getting married and the husband can't stop talking about tiles for the kitchen counter. And by the end of the day, his wife's pretty pissed at him. Whoops, sorry. There's a knife in his back. How to make a pair of pants in 20 minutes. And obviously these are not good instructions. It's just absurdist stuff. Sit on something uncomfortable to get your pants broken in. He's sitting on a telephone? I realize how weird this sounds, me describing these strips, and they're just absurd. But I don't know why, I love these. Pammy and I are thinking of getting into heroin. Oh, look at this. I love the art in this one. This one is just like this, almost like a weird poem, prose poem. I can't work today. All the old ghosts are hanging around. Everything looks stupid. My clothes are uncomfortable. In fact, nothing works today. Even the dog watching me rankles. And it ends with, I wonder how Liz Taylor is doing. I don't even get... For some reason, all these funny animal characters are sitting around and they get a check from the Publishers Clearinghouse. Little introduction to the story. Snakes in the bathroom. This woman calls up the police. There's snakes in the bathroom. So these two cops go over there. These are the least weird people she's ever drawn, I think. They're actually attractive. So the police come there and they wrangle the snakes. And then one of the cops kind of makes a love connection with this woman. On their way back to the station, they're not paying attention, and the police officers get in a car crash, and all the snakes come out. Someday you're going to be a big pain in the ass, she says to her baby. I love the face on that baby. Some of them are kind of groaners. Mommy, do mermaids get crabs? That's like a Playboy joke. Free glue samples. Just this woman who gets a free glue sample, and she's like, I've got to glue something together. And then she says, just because I got this free sample doesn't mean I have to. But then she's like, oh, maybe just one little item. She's gluing her lamp to her telephone. Look how she just warps anatomy and facial features just perfectly. We'd cook out more often if it wasn't for these damn monitor lizards. I love this, just a drawing. Maybe this was a header for an article. Really nice, though. I think a lot of these are from the originals, because they kind of have this gray tint to them. A lot of the humor is very subtle. It's like New Yorker cartoons. It's just a lot yellower than we expected. Oh, here we have the first appearance of White Girl, I think. White Girl Dreams. This one's very like a prose poem. There's lots of surrealism going on. What's the point in dancing like this or eating whole trees as these gentlemen are doing? Don't worry, just remember there are plenty of good jobs around for people who love to travel. And these cowboys are riding these giant rabbits. Her face just cracks me up every time. God, her drawing. You guys, take note of this. See this marquee here for the Raphael? I'll tell you about it, why I brought it up later. We're going to see a lot of that. Look at this. She's just a master illustrator in my book. And then she says this line, which I read this when I was a kid in National Lampoon. And I find it so true. Dreams of any consequence are hard to find. I always get the other kind. And then just look at this telephone warping. So it's almost like a dream-like discussion about dreams. And she starts describing this horrible dream where her husband, who she doesn't even know, comes home and says, "Get dinner ready, honey. The company's coming over." And of course, there's all these problems like in a dream, you know. So she just takes off. It almost looks like she photocopies her face. It's almost the same exact face every time. See, some of these are just like, I think she just wanted to draw this. It's not even a joke. Next we have In the Workplace. Attorneys without clients meeting. It's like an AA meeting. These sad lawyers. This one's insane. I may have to cut this short, BK, and get back to you. And this is like really pretty horse, pretty pony looking at him. Like they're gonna, there's some amorous intent there. Mr. Peabody, what happened? There's no explanation. Now we have Revenge and Forgiveness, a dental fantasy. I think we've all had this fantasy. So, MK Brown is dreaming, having this wonderful dream where her dentist has a toothache. She makes him wait for 80 minutes and 2 days in the waiting room. And then she basically tortures him. She uses all these weird instruments and horrible floss it's corrugated floss. Vacuums up his tongue. And then the dentist actually says, "You know, I guess I haven't been a good dentist. I promise I'll do better. I'll put these mistakes behind me. I says, sorry, Mr. Downer, not good enough. Or Dr. Downer. I sent him into dental hell, and I forgive him. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Bureau of Heroin, Snuff, and Dynamite. Bureau of Caffeine, Cocaine, and Plutonium. Bureau of LSD, Cupcakes, and Anthrax. This one's called Guide Dogs. And their shtick is that this guide dog totally is like his life coach. I wouldn't if I were you, Marion, when she's trying out a dress that he doesn't like. Let's get out of here, Phil. This place is a dump. It'd be nice to have a dog like that. Rest de la Rocca, Worm Trainer of the Americas. They don't even look like worms. They're just like these lumps. Some more worms. No, leave it long on the back so I can look like a nincompoop. And we have transference from 1991. This woman has a wise-ass disease. She's got the wise-ass disease. And I guess she just can't help her saying stupid, wise-ass comments every time anybody talks to her. So she goes to the doctor. And the doctor starts saying stupid, wise-ass things back to her. And it kind of cures her. All these bad jokes and puns he's telling her. Once again, she's introducing the story, telling us how she got the inspiration. The Fly Brothers in Hollywood, and we see these two flies. And they're just pestering this agent. So we see all these like kind of shallow Hollywood people. And the flies are basically just going around eating food. God, that face is so dopey and dumb. She captures that kind of person so well. I don't want a kiss. I want my money. I would love to be a bank teller and ask the customers, would you like a kiss? Coping with chainsaw massacres. Of course, it totally has nothing to do with it. She says, look at my diplomas. And I still don't know what to do about chainsaw massacres. Some little sketches she was doing for fun, probably. Science and Technology is the next section. Mr. Science, kind of like Mr. Wizard. Fear of the known. Ordinary things to fear you never thought about. This iron could fall and explode. This salesman could be a long-lost brother. Your shoes could be wiretapped. And then what to do? Don't iron. Best not to answer the door. Throw out your shoes. So here's another introduction. This one's called Inroads into Science. God, the coloring in this is so fucking gorgeous. Look at this this grasshopper here. And it's all these like fake facts about insects. Some parts of the world they use insects for transportation. Here, a little Dutch girl on a giant cicada shell narrowly misses the kind of tragic accident which can spoil a vacation. And we see this father with his 2 daughters and his wife, and he's got to harvest these giant bananas. And apparently it's very perilous work. He's really worried about his safety. Then the volcano starts going off. So the father's like, screw this place. Let's go back to England. And then on the ship back to England, the captain says, I don't know, this weather, it just looks funny. Funny weather. Real weather. And that's the end. It has nothing to do with the beginning of the story about insects. Oh, this one is, I'm pretty sure she's just having fun here. A Star is Born, an essay on the order of the universe. And it's just her, like, this could totally be a really cool animated film. Just warping this thing, whatever the hell it is, into all these different things. So bizarre. Another little intro. Women, what do they want? I think this was in Ms. Magazine. We see Sigmund Freud. It just tells us all these absurd things that women want. Early women wanted fire, not such a large fire that it burned down the forest, and not such a small fire that it didn't cook the caribou. Early women wanted a fire that was just right. And then we see these 3 women. That's really interesting here, what she does with the lettering. She says, one can forget to take enough calcium, or sometimes one can just forget, and it just fades out, like the person's forgetting what they're about to say. And we see these 3 women in this oyster bar. Maxine, the thing she remembers is this vision of Bhavani Trimurtha Mother. I think it's a Hindu goddess. Then that night she sees Tlatzolteotl, the Aztec goddess of earth. And then we get back to Sigmund Freud, still asking, what do women want? And he's interviewing this woman. God, I love every panel in this. The art. I want a comfortable bra. It goes all the way into the future. This is 2006, which was the future then. Here's White Girl Technology, number 12. Her showing us how to operate a VCR. Now leaving Spellcheckville. Dagner, falling box. Now this may be a little painful, Mr. Fenton. He shoots him with an arrow. Yeah, I gotta say, so many of these I don't even understand. These little gag cartoons. In National Lampoon, I read her like long form stories. You know, they were 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. But I guess these are from the New Yorker, which I wasn't reading. And other magazines. Here's another white girl one. Home auto repair. It's weird, we saw the same thing earlier in that dream strip. These weird arms operating some kind of wrenches. on some kind of bizarre machinery. And of course, this makes no sense. See, this is why I think some of these are originals. Look how dark this is. Like maybe the paper. This is the right brain and the wrong brain. Right. And this woman's writing a letter. Wrong. And she's writing it all over her hand. Right. Right. Wrong. Wrong. She's about to smash her teacup with the hammer and saw this nice table in half. So now we have a seedy part of town. This is the next section. Questions and answers. Call the police when there's a pit bull in your yard. When you awaken from a nap in Egypt. Hey, that's what we're here for, says this friendly officer. Wait a minute, didn't I go to school with you? This is floating little criminal for some reason. Freakhead from Mars. And this guy, God, I love the way she draws his face. He says, I'm not really a freakhead. I just look like one because I wear my mom's clothes. I love this guy, the laundry man. Such an insane character design. So he's just this sad guy who has his basket of laundry for a head. And everyone, like, just hates him and is mean to him. But then again, he's kind of obnoxious. He's kind of like this glad-handing kind of pain in the ass. He gets all this advice from the ladies at the salon, like, what should I do? I should just be myself. I love this how it almost looks like a face. It kind of morphs in and out. It happened at the bank with White Girl. I'll just keep calling her that. This woman's first in line at the bank. All of a sudden, these bank robbers come in. And this bank robber comes in. He gets arrested. Here's the strange part. Suddenly, all these people are in front of me. I like how this bank has a salad bar. For no real reason. No good reason. How to jackknife your big rig, a trucker's lament. Man, look at this beautiful shading. I don't pretend to understand this at all. This is so odd on so many levels. Bananas on a stick, 5 cents. It's your money, Frank. Spend it any way you want. They don't look very clean to me. But for some reason, he's talking to like Horus or some Egyptian god. It's just so inexplicable. This one I fucking love. I think I saw this as a kid in National Lampoon. Let's do the white girl twist. Just seeing her crazy gyrations. Her body language. Oh my God. That is just so funny. God, if only that was like, I could see a video of this to actually see her making these moves. Probably have a heart attack from laughing. Now we have Earl D. Porker, social worker. And all the objects in his apartment talk to him. They're like, the refrigerator's empty, Earl. You better go out and get some groceries. And it seems to be this horrible trial going to the grocery store. Just all these weird people there and almost all these obstacles. And he finally makes it home. And his clock says, you forgot the cat food, Earl. Here's another early porker strip. And just shows him wasting his whole Saturday. And all of his household items are like saying, go out, get some sun. Oh man, you totally wasted today. He just sits and watches TV all day. The roller derby, no less. And another one. And this is just him at work, giving advice to people. Lost Sweater Dream. Just a really great a story of illustrating one of her dreams. Here she is again. White girl sings the blues. No problem. This comes off as soon as I stop licking. You poor thing, are you a pig or a dog? I could read hundreds of these, even though they're not funny. Some of them, I don't know, I love them so much. And they're just so dopey that I'm fascinated by them, even the ones that are completely unfunny. Romance and social studies. This amazing hat. Have I ever told you you remind me of my mother? Love, it makes the world go round. God, this one is just bizarre. This is the heart where it all should start, even in geese. The second chakra is another place, especially in Venice. In Australia, love requires a lot of walking. Man, everything she draws is just so beautiful. This horse head looks amazing to me. In Amsterdam, there's a pony so in love with a cat he will not eat when the cat is away. Just remember, love can make the world more round. Love is anywhere and everywhere it's found. Aw, that's sweet. Funny the way things turn out, isn't it, Stuart? These men are dressed as ladies. Speaking Spanish and Macy's. Very silly. Here's another one that looks like an original. This one is just like a disturbing nightmare. This so reminds me of Beat Club Band, some of this stuff. Even though they draw totally differently. For the last time, we don't want any papayas. Now go away or I'll call my husband. Blowing in the Winds from 1983. This is very Beat Club Band because it's just this kind of little poem. Lovers, loners, mother of 10, house husband, ex-wife, unattached men. Roommates, running mates, arrangement of 3, twin beds, newlyweds, family tree. Like, yeah, Beat Club Band had lots of those strips. The only one I can remember off the top of my head is him rhyming like pretty city grandma's titty. That's been in my head like probably once a week since I was 10. Enough about me. What do you do, Stan? This Canadian Mountie. Here's a love story. And this takes place in the suburbs of Salt Lake City. Even though it really doesn't, it takes place in a demented, feverish brain. This one is just amazing surrealism. These characters are just like, they're not even alien creatures. They're just complete constructs of insanity. But they're just talking like normal people. Like Billy comes over to this woman's house, Mrs. Williams. And they're just chatting. Look at this. It's so crazy, these designs. The character designs are nuts. And they start fooling around. Mrs. Williams makes a pass at young Billy. And then we switch to the offices of J. Edgar Williams, the husband of Mrs. Williams. He's a top tax consultant. And this is what he looks like. Whatever the hell that is. He's advising these kiwi birds on their financial issues. And then we see Billy and Mrs. Williams in bed, post-coitus. Once again, guys, check out these colors. She's a master. I would love to meet her. Singles bar. And just this really insane, annoying guy. Here's a promise to remember. Basically, she had a friend who liked reading bodice strippers, and she challenged M.K. Brown to make a gothic romance cartoon. So this is a promise to remember. This is the story of Sabrina Doe, who since the shipwreck in the Gulf cannot recall her past. She takes the post of governess at high in the hills of Devon. Oh man, this looks good. So she's taking a stagecoach to her new position as governess. It's kind of like a Jane Eyre scenario. Creepy butler, weird maids. Basically everyone in the house is unsettling. And she finds herself being fearful. She screams from the attic. She faints. And when she wakes up, this guy named Marcel shows up. He's like, "It's me, Marcel, Sabrina." She's like, "Who the hell are you?" He says, "Let's escape together." So he tells her that all the people in the house are evil spirits. Tomorrow we'll be married. I will explain everything to you for the rest of our lives, and that's a promise to remember. Old Moon Rising. Condensed Thwarted Horror. That's a great subtitle. At the Mute Museum. Once again, this could totally be a B. Cobain cartoon. No idea what this contraption is all about, but I love it. Listening to Noam Chomsky. once again, I have no fucking clue what's going on in this drawing. Her shopping cart's turning into this creature. That's just amazing to me. I love her drawing. Here's some paper dolls. Hawaiian girl. But then the outfits have nothing to do with like a Hawaiian thing. Well, some do. But then some are just insane and inane. Farm boy. Look at this fucking Mobius-like hat for the farm boy to wear. See, this is the kind of stuff, every now and then she puts out a groaner like this. Speaker of the House plant. Ugh. Come on, MK. I love this one, Whistle Stop. She mentions that this was published in 1988, and I think it was listed as like one of the best political cartoons of the year. And I guess it's been reprinted a lot and posted on the internet, but it's so dead on, where it's a whistle stop tour before the president can meet the public. They keep him in a cage. He's just this complete mongoloid freak, like basically a carny, a circus geek, like that level of composure. And they're like, come on, put on his shoes. And in front of everyone, they introduce him, and he bites the head off of a rat. And then the power brokers, behind him. Are like, do you think that could cost us the election? It was a goddamn careless thing to happen. I don't think anyone noticed. And this has been kind of prescient. Basically, the bar is so low for presidents now. This one's these are Mercury strips, Messenger of God. Just very, very dada and absurd. Mercury, and he's hanging out with God's dog. Ramona. And he hears God's name. Look at these 2 panels of just him walking. Right, left, he's saying. And the whole time his body keeps morphing and changing. God has turned into a giant princess phone and is having lunch. Of course, this princess phone is just kind of repulsive and fleshy. And God basically just called him there to basically say some stupid jokes. Then he turns into a weird-looking automobile. And he says, hop in. And then he drives over a cliff. Hang on, Mercury, God is with you. It says to be continued. But it's not really, because now Mercury is in a totally different situation. It's a lazy day in heaven. He's walking on water. And then once again, we just see this panel of just like his motions. He just takes this leap and lands on the water again. Then these poisonous flying ants come out of nowhere, and they all they bite Mercury. And he tells Ramona, don't try to save me, go find God, tell him I'm in big trouble. And we see him crash landed in a small town in America. Actually, it could be Mexico, because there's all these taco places. Love that drawing. Kind of like Gulliver Travels type thing. And here's the last Mercury. And he's hanging out with these swans. He goes to tell God that it's spring because the swans are fucking. And God doesn't believe him. And when God comes back, this time he's disguised. He's changed into a gift set of men's toiletries. The swans are all gone. Now we have travel in nature. I like this, the old desert island gag. This guy's built an automobile out of whatever sea, this driftwood and crabs and starfish, and he's just sitting in his car, his fake car. This next story is inspired by her trip to the Mayan temples in Tikal. She draws this insects and she says, She actually saw this insect. I would love to see this insect. That's crazy looking. Highlights of Guatemala. Of my trip to Guatemala. And of course, it's not going to be a reminiscence of visiting Guatemala. It's just going to get weird really quick. Oh man, I love her full color stuff so much. She claims that Guatemala City has a moat surrounding it that is filled with poisonous reptiles. I don't think that's true. Maybe it is. I don't know. Poisonous banana cream pie. Wild street dogs. Look, High Noon, Guatemala City. There's that Raphael sign again. Strange face and tortilla batter. Getting through customs. Oh man, just all these panels. Just such beautiful imagery. Tourist wrestling with demon in Acapulco. I love that demon. Alien being pandas. I don't think there's pandas in Guatemala, are there? Maybe in the zoo. And then she makes it home. I like this tree sloth saying, yeah, it kind of sucks being a sloth. All your pee runs down to your neck. Which I never thought of that. I guess sloths probably get off the tree when they pee. Bill, the story of a newt who was eaten by a suit. Hey, what the? This is nuts. This one's so odd. This guy in a desert island just sees a chainsaw floating by. I don't know. Loud ties in nature. Camel racing in the desert. This is just another one where everything's warped and transforming. These camels are barely camels. Some of these are kind of like typical Playboy ones. This couple on a desert island, she's pregnant. He's like, you're what? Frank and Bill on the Indian Ocean. I didn't point this out, but we saw these guys earlier in another strip. And this guy just starts listing off all the presidents. And Frank is just like, stop it. Cut it out, stop it. Very dumb. This is pretty goofy. Mother Nature pouring a vacuum. She's just staring at this vacuum with contempt. I don't know why I love this one. There's a fryer feeding the chickens, and an angel is absconding with one of the chickens, flying off back to heaven. So here's the origins of Dr. Nogatatu. Nogatatu? Yeah. The reason why they have this whole thing here is because this was an animated segment on the original Tracy Ullman show back in the late 80s, I believe. And it was based on this comic. Another true life pretty face in the field of medicine. And she's got this amazing story how she grew up in the jungles of, I believe, New Guinea. As a little girl, she'd play with the monkeys. And then they were chased away by pygmies. I love how they're shooting arrows and poison darts at their airplane as they make a narrow escape. So she comes to America and just becomes kind of a normal college girl. And then she just goes on talking about how much she loves her job, how much she loves being a doctor. She talks about her very first case, a retired Army colonel with a nasty rash. His head was inside a bottle, so you can imagine how difficult that was to treat. For some reason, his head was in a bottle. I don't like it here. I like how all these trees have these amazing faces in them. Here's another one of those ones that's just like, what? Here's another explanation for this one. They Came from Space, a true life sci-fi social drama. 1984, Salt Lake City. See that sign? Raphael. It's just like in Guatemala. And we just see this, it's almost like a small town milieu. I don't know if Salt Lake City's like that. It's a big city, but everyone's just saying hi to each other in the streets. I love all these faces, are so interesting and great. And the main character here is Dorothy. She's a doctor. Apparently MK Brown just saw someone who looked like her and said, oh my God, I gotta steal that face, capture that face and use it. So all these people just saying, morning Lou, morning Bill. So the doctor gets to her office. She has her first patient. And then these aliens come and abduct Dorothy. She's like, what the heck's going on here? They take her into her spaceship and they do a barrage of tests on her. And these tests are just crazy. And they talk amongst themselves and then they deposit her back in her office. I don't know what this is at all. Looks like a guy's driven his car up onto this giant bird and is standing on his head. Saga of the Frozen North. Sergeant Laws Larson and his giant sled dog, Big Tim. This is just like a total soap opera type thing. We see the McClellan family. Here we're introduced to them. And one night the McClellans are all sitting around singing shaboom, shaboom, doing all the na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. And this Mountie, Lars Lawson, comes to the door and collapses. His dog's with him, and he starts growling at everyone. The daughter says, oh, he's just trying to protect his master. Someone get a cookie to calm him down. And, you know, he's standing right on over the mountain growling. And he totally is placated, though, when the cookies come out, and he's friendly. When the Mountie wakes up, the daughter has visions of them getting married in her head already. She's kind of a spinster. So while he's convalescing, she, feeds him soup and is taking care of him. And one day she's bringing him his breakfast and she says, Sergeant, I have terrible news. Your dog has disappeared. He says, my dog? I don't have a dog. I was riding along with my horse and this huge dog came leaping out of a tree. He knocked me down and he followed me for miles through the snow trying to bite me. And that's when I arrived at your house. So the whole time they thought it was his dog, but he was just his attacker. So then he has to head back to Toronto and he leaves. Here's Way Out West. I guess M.K. Brown was an avid horse rider, so she liked to draw comics about the West. Here's another one of those groaners. Custer's Last Nightstand. Look how sketchy this is, though. I wonder if these were, like, things that she rejected herself, self-rejected. Because it looks like she didn't even draw it. Maybe it's just from her sketchbooks. Jojo the Counting Horse. I think I read this when I was a kid. I remember this one. She really draws beautiful horses. Of course, he's terrible. No matter what fingers he has up, the clown has up, he says either 1 or 2. Here's a nice painting she did of a horse. And now we have Western romance. This is an epic tale for M.K. Brown. It's probably the longest thing she's ever written and drawn. Love that image. We saw that earlier. So we got chapter 1 here. Another true life Western romance. And this is like a huge soap opera, sprawling, crazy story. We got Lolly Barrows, her fiance, Billy Barnes. They live with her parents and her sister, her little baby Amando. So I guess Billy has been abducted by Indians. And she says, why does it keep getting captured? Other people don't get captured by Indians all the time. God, the character designs in the father. Oh, by the way, Lolly's an adopted daughter. That's why she doesn't look like a mutant like these two. But it's almost like the father's face is a hand, but like really just warped and bizarre. Once again, just like really just crazy character designs. This one also has some of the most beautiful coloring. This is just a freaking work of art. This is so good. So finally, Billy comes back. He escaped the Indians. And they get married. And they ride off. So now we have Hillbilly Jubilee song roundup time. And we see this guy singing this cowboy song. Just a cowboy's lips. And it's kind of weird because it's about this kind of cowboy romance. Well, this guy's in Tucson. Look, there's the Raphael sign. Even in Tucson, we just see the bottom of it. And just these lyrics are great. When along came a girl with a monkey, and I promised to always be true. Oh, just a cowboy's lips. That's all I have to offer. Just a cowboy's lips. Hey, why don't you use handcuffs like all the other sheriffs? Part 2 of Western romance. Oh, look at these colors. So now Lolly and Billy have settled down to run their own, farm. The parents are always kind of coming over, though, and kind of pestering them and giving them advice. Look at this crazy tractor device. He's getting a little restless. He's basically like, how the hell did I get here? I used to just roam free on my horse all over the prairie whenever I felt like it. Now I got to take care of these animals all the time. Lolly seems to be a little not too thrilled herself. So, it turns out that Lolly's pregnant. And I guess she didn't know it for 9 months. The babies are about to come out. So she has triplets. And then before anyone can tell Billy, the Indians kidnap him again. The mother says, what are you going to call them? I just don't know, Mama. I just don't know. Bean Morocco in Going West. The illustrations in here are so different. I don't know why it kind of reminds me of that guy Stan Mack. Remember him? He was a syndicated cartoonist. I think he was in the Village Voice and a few newspapers. Very scratchy, but so good. Not much happens in here. This is this guy riding his horse. And he sees a piece of gold in the sand. He's trying to get his horse to stop. He's going, whoa. And the whole time he's fantasizing about what that gold, how it will change his life for the better. And he just can't get the horse to stop, and that's the end of the story. This one's even more striking. Look at this drawing here. This reminds me of like George Pratt or something, or Kent Williams, if in black and white. Amazing art here. This one's called Night Ride, with starring Beans Morocco. I gotta say, MK Brown, looking at this again, she's like one of my favorite artists, comic artists ever. She's so amazing. And here's another Bean Morocco, even though it's just these prickly pears just saying weird shit to each other. Here's an unfinished drawing, it looks like. Then we have part 3 of Western Romance. Everyone always introduces us to the characters again and tells us what happened, just as if it was like some kind of soap opera thing. So we see Billy, who's been abducted yet again. Did I miss something? Okay. And then back to the farm, we see Lolly with her 3 babies. And then they realize Billy's been abducted again. It's so weird, this whole scene, how it's basically like the Indians treat this as a prank. They're kind of just like laughing at him. And he's furious. He's all like, "You got the wrong man, I tell you, untie me." And he tries to come to terms with them. It's almost like they're benign kidnappers. They're just kind of like, yeah, this is kind of fun to do. And they're all nice to him. They keep feeding him food. "Hey, try this, Bill. You'll like it. It's really tasty." And he's just all like, "Fuck you." He's all sullen. God, her fucking kids are mutants, but not as mutated as her adoptive parents. She still hasn't named the kids. I guess months have passed, and the parents keep bugging her. It's like, come on, you gotta name them. How about this? How about these names? So Lala's been running the farm by herself, and it's kind of, she's been running it into the ground. She's not a great farmer. And one day she's trying to test a hog, which I don't know what that means. And this guy shows up. He's got one of those mounted harmonicas like Bob Dylan. And then we see the Indians finally let Billy go. And they even give him all these gifts and presents. They're like, "Sorry, Bill. Sorry about the mistake." Even though they had him for months, apparently. So weird. Oh, God, I love that drawing so much. That is gorgeous. Western Romance Part 4. And we do a total recap once again. And we find out the name of that mysterious stranger with the harmonica, T.R. Cockburn, with his trick horse Diablo, who looks like a fucking pig horse hybrid or something. So he shows up and he says, "You need some help there, ma'am?" And he helps her out. And she's really impressed. And it almost seems like, something's going on here. They invite him in for dinner. And it seems like the mother is almost just like, yeah, her husband's been gone. Almost like giving him the thumbs up. So finally he's like, "It's been a real pleasure, but I got to head out." And he says, "You sure smell sweet, Mrs. Barnes. Been meaning to tell you." But then right then, Diablo gets scared from lightning and throws him to the ground. So he's injured. So he can't leave now. So for the next few weeks, Lolly takes care of him. She's bandaging him up. Meanwhile, many miles from home, Billy is playing his new guitar that the Indians gave him, cooking up a rattlesnake, singing a sad song. Then next morning, we basically TR doesn't leave, even though he's injured. He keeps saying, "Well, before I go to say thanks, I fixed your leaky roof, and I mended this fence, and then I'll head on when I'm done." So he just keeps finding more and more chores to do, and but he keeps re-injuring himself, so he still always has to be laid up in bed. It's quite a hunk. Here's an intro for one of her National Lampoon articles. It was written by Tony Hendra, the captions. And it was just, Tony Hendra just wanted her to make up all these fake guns. I like these little sketches here. So she uses a lot of reference work. See, she saw this ad in the TV guide, and she just totally used it in her drawing. There it is, the finished drawing. This is a dual-purpose backwoodsman longbow rifle, half-breed's delight, and it shoots bullets and arrows. These are just so ludicrous. This twin-stock muzzle-load non-repeater, it takes 2 men to fire it? Like, there's no reason why that would be a good thing. A machine gun. And Emma Brown says she didn't do any research. She just wanted to make up these crazy guns from her imagination, basically. Some more sketches, and then we have part 5 of Western Romance. So, of course, the recap is very long because we've had a lot of chapters. So, Billy bursts in. Billy finally makes it home. He sees the strange man in his bed. He's naked. And he punches him. Even though TR is being very friendly. So, all of a sudden, Lolly, it turns out, while they're fighting, Lolly's real mother shows up. I guess she always knew who her real mother was, but she just never comes to visit. Mrs. Jorgenstern. And Billy breaks his hand from punching TR so much. And then somehow, really quickly, TR and Billy become fast friends. And even though because they're still injured, now Lolly still has to do all the work, even though she's got 2 strapping young men around. They're just sitting around laughing and joking together, the 2 dudes, while she's doing all the work. I love this how she's holding a pig to another pig, and in her thought balloon, she's like, oh, maybe they'll kiss. The doctor who came over to take care of TR and Billy, he won't leave. And it looks like him and Mrs. Jorgenstern, Lily's real mother, are having a love connection. So through all this time, it seemed like Lily kind of had a crush on TR, but it seems like now Lolly. Lolly is just seems so distant from everyone, and is just not happy at all. And she finally names her children. And then she says, and I'm Guinevere. TR thinks she's mad. Both of the guys think she's gone mad. And so Lolly just takes off one day. And she walks and walks. And the Indians found her. And she basically becomes part of the tribe. And she's now an Indian queen. And having the time of her life, for the first time in her life, and she's just loving it. She's playing a full drum kit with the Native American band, and everyone's dancing. This is so kooky. Here's another fun little sketch. Okay, so here's the explanation of that San Rafael, or just the Raphael Theater. MK Brown got this postcard years ago from someone. And it's San Rafael, California. It's downtown, like circa the 50s. And she admits that every single time she's had to draw a downtown city street, she draws the same street. Here's the cover of Arcade she did, I believe number 7 or 6. It's the same exact street. We've seen this street 5 times already in this comic. And this one, Self-Portrait, starts off. It's the same street. Born in Hamburg before the war, an only child that was given everything. Arrested at age 10 for stealing a religious statue. Sent to military school for girls in Argentina. Escaped, married Diego, a full-blooded Cherokee. She fled to San Rafael. And she married second husband Manny. Took up macrame and tap dancing. Learned to fly. God, the art in this one is really nice. I love her version of Groucho Marx. Looks great. And then she says, actually, I was born on an Indian reservation, taught to hunt and fish and ride at an early age. And this is one of those instances where the unreliable narrator, like what she's saying is not being shown at all. We do not see her learning how to hunt and fish and ride. She's just a normal suburban girl watching TV. Mother Nature was my teacher, but we actually see her in school with a real teacher. The truth is, I was born in Connecticut. And then we see her in a little papoose with all these teepees. I memorized all the prepositions at school and can recite them to this day. And we see her riding this horse with a bow and arrow. I really love this one. It's just such a amazing, I don't know how to describe it. It's just really bizarre. God, that was a terrible description. Sorry, guys. I can't think of a better word. And then we have an afterword by the great cartoonist Roz Chast. And they've known each other forever. So it's kind of nice. And we see some more sketches. I think this is a photo she found in 1979, who I think she bases White Girl on. Here's this guy who's based on Wayne Newton. There's the San Rafael. And there you go, guys. Sorry that took so long, but this is a fat book, and I wanted to show you everything. So M.K. Brown's Stranger Than Life. I hope this is still in print. I hope you can get it, because then again, this is a very acquired taste, I think. I think your average person would just be scratching their head, which I'm scratching my head often when I'm reading these, but I still love them. But I mean, I hope you could see the art at least. I can't imagine anyone not liking her drawing. She's incredible. Just amazing cartoonist. So hopefully you can find it. And I hope to see you next time here at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.